What? Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Wow, I didn't. When did you get here? Hey, thanks for joining me, guys. Welcome to tonight's edition of What I Have Is Who I Am. My name is Brainsmasher, and the cat is bound and determined to ruin this video. So let's see if we can butt heads all the time. Let's see. Doing another A to Z collection video. What do you think about that? We're going to be listening to... I haven't listened to this in a long time. This is some good shit. This is Necrofrost with In a Misty Soar and On Its Swampy Floor. To the best of my knowledge, I don't know a lot about this band. They're German, and they're great. It's really like cold and frail, kind of like, I'm not sure how to describe it. It's just like so sloppy that it just kind of adds to the grimness of the atmosphere going on here. But it's really good. There was a time when I felt like me and my buddy Ron were like the only fans of this band in the United States. I think we discovered them on like Audio Galaxy or something. It's a name that you would think you would just kind of look over. Necrofrost. Like, of course, there's a band called Necrofrost, and of course they probably sound exactly like this, but I don't know. It's really good. Their lyrics are hilariously awful. It's not just that they sing in German and they translate them to English. As far as I can tell, the lyrics are sung in English. Let's see if I can... Yeah, so first song, Grim of December's Mayloon. I'm not sure how many of those words are actually real words, but it starts off with, she notices some careful taps on the wooden floor, and on that rotten slats, fast her scared heart pounders as her candle flame fades. The plenifog chisels her grimly wonders. Man, this is such a gem. This was reissued on CD a few years after this originally came out. In 99, I think. Yeah, so this stuff was written and recorded around 95 to 99. And then I think people finally kind of started to catch on to this band in like the mid 2000s or so. And I believe they did another album. Well, I have two. There's this one and then another one, whatever. They've got, I think, 3 albums. And eventually I think this got reissued on wax, and it's a really good gem. Alright, so we've got the last album from the E's. No, the D's. We're getting out of the D's and into the E's with this one. These are out of order a little bit, so... Crazy cat alert. Hey, by the way, I went mushroom hunting yesterday and I found this extremely rare mushroom. This is the boar's head tooth mushroom. It is a choice edible as far as I know, and it is known for having neurological disorder treating abilities. Parkinson's, stuff like that, Alzheimer's. This can regrow those neurological what have yous in your head that make you go crazy when you're old. If you eat this, you'll be smart again. This is the first time I've ever found this, and I'm not going to cook it or anything because I'm smart enough as it is, but I just think it's such a cool looking little beast, and it's just going to dry up on my desk here, and I'm just going to enjoy it. So that's that. I love mushrooms more and more every day. I can't stop looking at it. I've got to focus. All right. So, D. We got... How did these get so fucking out of order? Okay. First, Dispair. Spelled really cleverly. So this is a compilation of demos that one of the members of this band, Jim Ash, made for me. Maybe he made a couple for friends or something. But this is 3 of their demos put together from 94 to 96. There's some live stuff on here. So Dispair were a band, a buddy of mine who got into metal before me and kind of ushered me into the world of metal. He had ordered a demo out of the back of a Metal Maniacs catalog by Dispair. It was called Meet Death at Full Throttle. And on the cover of it, maybe I can find a cover or something to put in the video, you had a guy just going, ah, with a gun to his head. It was funny, and we would put it on and laugh at how funny it was. It was really bad. So years and years and years later, so this was like 96, 97 or something like that. Years later, 2000, somewhere around there or something, my buddy Wayne and I would talk on AOL Instant Messenger over and over and over all night long, and just share metal bands back and forth and just discover new stuff all the time. It was a great time. But so one night I was just like, have you ever heard of Dispair? And he was like, yes, I'm friends with the guitar player, Jim. And in fact, the other night, Jim came up to me at a Eternal Suffering show, and he said he was thinking back about his days in Dispair. And he was like, we were pretty crappy, weren't we? So I wound up writing to Jim and asking him if I could give him 10 or 15 bucks or something for any Dispair material that he had. So he made me this, and he made me a live VHS tape with a cable TV appearance, which was also kind of funny because Wayne had his own cable TV show for a couple years, which was fucking utterly hilarious. Now this is me in Iowa and him out in Boston at that time. Anyways, Dispair is hilarious. If I can find any semblance of this material online, I'll try and link it up, but you're just gonna have to trust me on this one. It's really fucking hilarious. Okay, so next we've got Dune with Eros. Now, I've talked a few times on my channel about a genre of music that a lot of people aren't familiar with, and I'm kind of new to, but it kind of plugs into some bands that I was already into before discovering that they kind of had a name. Now, if you're familiar with the French progressive band Magma, I kind of like them. I don't have any of their records, but I don't know, they're alright. But what surprised me to learn was that there's an entire genre that is kind of falls under their whole world, I guess. There's bands who exist to pay tribute to Magma, and this style of music is called Zool, Z-E-U-H-L. And several of those Zool bands I really like. I think Magma's, kind of good, but the bands that are like taking that style to the next level, I think is really cool. So Dune is one of them. Can't really think of many others off the top of my head. Wadoria is really good. That's all I got for right now. But this is really interesting. It's a French, maybe 6-piece band. It's got a lot of flute all over the place. Look at how happy that guy is to play the flute for you. But it is just all over the place. It is some really experimental, out there kind of stuff. Art Zoid is another Zool band I'm really into. So yeah, I just recently got this copy of this, maybe last year or so. I've spun it a few times. I never really thought that I would find a copy of it for sale, and sure enough, Discogs had it, and I scooped it up. This was I think originally issued 78, 79 on LP, and that son of a bitch is rare as all hell. And so it was first found its way to CD in the year 2000. So next we've got kind of the same thing here. I think I talked about this in my video when I got this in. Would you shut up? Shut up. I'm talking to my buddies over here. So this was sealed when I bought this a couple of months ago. Dusk, who are newly reunited and playing a couple of shows, Wisconsin's Doom Death Masters. I fucking love this band to death. So this is Majestic Thou and Ruin, and I again, like a lot of the stuff, would you shut up? Shut up, shut up. Where was I? Never thought I would be able to buy a copy of this, but all of a sudden on their Facebook page, they posted a sealed copy of this for sale. And I just fucking had to get it. Never thought I would own a copy of this. So this is an original that came out in 95. This is the reissue of that, plus their self-titled Dusk record. And maybe a few... No, that's all there is. Just Dusk is 6 tracks, and Majestic Thou and Ruin is 4 tracks. Just some of the heaviest, fucking most dreary doom you'll ever hear, but there's this excellent contrasting death metal element to it, where every once in a while they have this kind of burst of fury and anguish that just kind of explodes and falls back down onto itself. It's super great. I absolutely adore the production on this stuff. And Dark Symphonies, Ted the Crypt, also put this out. So again, I can't say enough good things about the Crypt. So that does it for the D's, and we're getting into Earth with Extra Capsular Extraction. So I bought this a couple of weeks ago, months ago, at a pawn shop for like $2. I thought it might have been kind of a rarity. It came out on Sub Pop in 1991, and Kurt Cobain actually plays on this. So this, I think, is the first, maybe second Earth album. I'm not a fan of Earth whatsoever. I saw them live maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and they fucking bored me to tears. I've just kind of, another one of those bands where I kind of feel like, what am I missing? Joe Preston also plays bass on this, and I had the good fortune of hanging out with Joe for a couple of hours when he came to town with his solo project Thrones, which is pretty good stuff. So next we are getting into Ebony Lake. Ebony Lake, one word, merged together. Cacophonous Records put this out, and this album is called On the Eve of the Grimly Inventive. This is one of the strangest albums in my collection. It is black metal, I would say. It's kind of progressive, it's very gothic, but it has just got some of just the weirdest combination of strange instrumentations, I guess. There's lots of just like clangy kind of pianos just bashing heads with the guitars off and on. It's fucking furious. It's insane. I feel like this light might be kind of fucking up my shot and I don't know it. Hope that's a little better, or hope it wasn't a problem before. Anyways, this is one of the strangest black metal bands there are out there. I want to say they're French, maybe English. And this is their debut. By the way, I've been getting a lot of facts on my videos wrong, and I appreciate you guys correcting me quite a bit. But like I've said before in my videos, like, I swear, I know this stuff. I know some of this stuff, and I have the wherewithal to speak to you one-on-one if you were in a room with me about an album or something. But when I hit record on this fucking thing, I swear to God, half of my brain just gets lobbed off at the knees, and I can't recall this stuff as easily as I think I would were I in person with you. So I appreciate you guys correcting me, and I don't know how I could make it any better. It's like when I stopped the video, I realized, oh god, duh, they were from fucking England, like I think they are. Anyways, Ebony Lake is really, really interesting. If that sounds interesting to you, check it out. It's one of a kind. And they are still active. Like I said, I think this came out in 94, 95, no, 99, on Cacophonous Records. And so this album is the follow-up in 2011. And this is called In Swathes of Brooding Light. So on this album, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of these are just vocalists. But I believe the lineup may be just one of those guys on this. So you would think then that it would sound quite a bit different than that one. But it really remains a lot of its artistic integrity and what was there to like before is still here quite a bit. It just seems like the guy, I'm looking to see if there's more than one member or not. Looks like 2 guys were on it. So they really had to learn how to, you know, program drums and maybe record in a home studio or something like that. But it seems like it may have taken them a really long time to record and write this album. But it is also every bit as interesting and strange and just off the wall. It's super orchestral, but it sounds like a broken orchestra, or it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like if you got in a car accident and your fucking head was jarred so bad that you heard music and it sounded fucking horrific and just like unnerving and wrong. It sounds like this. It's fucking horrifying and really interesting. I'm realizing how much I need to get back into listening to that stuff again. Alright, so, man, I have been just utterly obsessing over Black Mark Productions releases, so it's no surprise that I've got one here that we're talking about it. So, Edge of Sanity with Unorthodox. 92, this is their debut. Man, just the other day I found, and I posted this on Facebook, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw it, footage from 1991 of Edge of Sanity, Seance, and Disharmonic Orchestra playing live in this tiny little venue. And the sound on it is really, really great. It's kind of mostly drums and vocals, but I kind of appreciate that the guitars, you kind of have to just kind of tune your ear to hear the guitars. And the performances are fucking awesome. The recording is awesome. It's just such an amazing timepiece to experience. I'm so glad whoever uploaded it to YouTube did so. But so this is their debut, Unorthodox. This is definitely their most straightforward stuff. It's the most just unrelenting, pummeling, straightforward death metal record I think that they ever did. It's great. I don't really listen to it very often, and now that I've been kind of really getting back into death metal, it's high time that I put it back on. So I'm missing one of their albums. I think it's the one between Unorthodox and this one. I need to get it. It's just that this Black Mark stuff is really hard to come by. So this is Spectral Sorrows. This is a fucking awesome record. It's just absolutely mind-blowing how brilliant Don Svanya is, and this band is so great. I haven't really spent enough time with the early Edge of Sanity material to be able to, you know, speak all that much about it. I actually just got this from a buddy of mine, Lamers, last fall, I want to say. Maybe it was winter or so. So I'm not too familiar with either of those records. I did really get into Edge of Sanity when I first got into metal by way of the Infernal album, which came out in '97. And most people, I think, consider this their worst record, but I really like it. This was, and I think that speaks to a lot about the idea that the first albums that you got into in a genre that we're speaking of, I guess, are the ones that you just always go back to. And those are the ones that I think formulate your palate and your taste for that time. And I think it's undeniable. I love this record. There are catchy songs on it. My buddy and I used to just drive around listening to this, losing myself. It's so good. So that was my entry point into Edge of Sanity. I know, kind of weird. Also, Crimson was. And so I just got this like a month ago or so. And we also listened to Purgatory Afterglow quite a bit. This is just some amazing, amazing stuff. I think these guys kind of stepped away from death metal enough that a lot of people just kind of shrugged them off because they weren't brutal. But man, they were fucking brilliant. They took a genre of death metal and made just songs that you can never forget. Unforgettable songs with just incredible variety and depth to them. Next, we've got Until Eternity Ends, also by Edge of Sanity. This is just a quick EP. But I've always really liked this one too. It's probably the most rock and roll, I guess, just rock-based material from them. And it has a cover of a Sting song, Invisible Sun. And it's... that cover is fucking awesome. I know you either love or hate Dan Swano or Don Svanya, but I'm a pretty big fan. I know a lot of people who kind of obsess over him a bit too much, but I really, really respect the guy. I think he's one of the most brilliant musicians we've ever had the pleasure of enjoying in the metal realm. So next, this is a rare gem, I guess. Elderwind with... see, if you asked me this yesterday, I would be able to tell you what the album was called. Isn't it called like Songs of the something? I just got this on an LP a couple months ago as well. Stellar something. Gosh, I don't know. It's in Russian all on here, so I don't know. Huh, you know what? I don't... Okay, The Magic of Nature, that's what it is. I had to look on Metal Archives to see the translation. That might be kind of like a shitty translation, if I'm being honest. But so, my buddy Ron just gave me this a couple of years ago and said, here, check this out, it's great. I liked it, but this thing apparently is a super sought-after record. Deleting Soul Records put it out, but it's amazing. It definitely is in that realm of like summoning worship, and it's great. It's super catchy, like pagan, kind of mystical sounding Russian black metal. It's definitely a masterpiece. And last we've got Eichenskaden. I don't really know much about this project, but he's from France. In fact, it says French touch black metal. I don't know what that means, but kind of an interesting project. So he did 4 records under the name Eichenskaden. This being the last one, and as far as I heard, the worst reviewed one. And this is the only one that I've heard. So when I first heard this, I thought this was the first one. So I don't really know what to think the other ones are going to sound like. They're better apparently, but since this just kind of sounds like maybe a pile of leftover riffs shuffled together and put into an album format. I don't really know. It sounds pretty amateurish, but I get that there's a personality there worth exploring. So after this album, he changed the name to just The Skaden, and he did an album called, oh, by the way, this is called There Is No Light at the End of the Tunnel. All of the albums are just like centered around suicidal themes and things like that. I guess you could call this suicidal, depressive black metal, but it doesn't really sound all that similar to that. Anyways, I digress. He changed the name to The Skaden and released an album called You Will Wish I Had Died, which I have heard maybe once or twice, but it's been a really long time, so I might as well just say I haven't heard it. But he did die. The guy threw himself underneath some train tracks and didn't live. Imagine that. So that is what I know about Eichenskaden. It's really, really melancholic. It's kind of intense, honestly. So I'll probably explore more. I just found that in a used bin for really cheap and decided to dive in there. But I'm still confident that the project has better material than that is. Anyways, that's the end of it. So I'm going to end it on a really shitty, sour note. Don't forget to get out there and vote in your midterms. I can't say it enough. It's fucking important. And you're a douchebag if you don't vote. We'll see you next time. Thanks.